Take two. There was a distraction that, honestly, there was something going on that just distracted me too much in the last video. But, yeah, we are into day 3 of Gilded Ravnica Spoilers. We got a lot to go over, so let's go over it now. We have Vraska now spoiled, or revealed to us. Vraska Golgari Queen is 1 black, 1 green, and 2 of any color for a 4 loyalty planeswalker. So 4 for 4. Her +1, she has a +2, a -3, and a -9. +2 is sacrifice another permanent you control. You gain 1 life and draw a card. Well, actually, I know it's you control. So you may sacrifice another permanent, but I'm certain it's you control. It doesn't say it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's implying. Destroy target non-land permanent with converting mana cost 3 or less for its -3. -9, you get an emblem with whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. So her last ability is very reminiscent of her first ability on her first card with the 3 assassins that did that. Her +2 is good. No, it doesn't say creature. It says permanent. Now, you'll probably be using tokens, small pumpers to just chump out some some free life and anyway, some free life and card advantage. And then her -3 is good too. It's a solid card. My only issue is her plus doesn't do anything to protect her. A lot of Planeswalkers' pluses tend to be the some level of protection ability. Hellion Rouse, I think, is a level of protection. Now that I think about it, let me check that real quick. Actually, no, his is a draw. But still, he's got 4, and his is a -2 with his protection. So hers only works if you were forced to use be in that scenario where you had to defend yourself with this planeswalker. She only is good. She's good in the vacuum because she can only do it one time without pumping herself back up, and it only works if a creature with the 3 converted mana cost or less. So honestly, it's good. It's a good card overall. I would definitely use it, but I don't personally. I don't know. I like it. I think I like the last one better. It's the cheapest one of the 3, but I think I like the last one better. Should note though that Assassin's Trophy is a story spotlight card, and says I believe it's like a power vacuum for Azorius, a trophy for Vraska. And I didn't notice it was a story spotlight card until yesterday, and then realizing what I was looking at. It really took me a minute to realize what I was looking at, and then it all occurred to me. It's like, that's Asperia. That's the head of the Azorius Guild. We know Asperia is going to be trying to gather the guilds together with, in the card, the guild summit. It's like cooperation. Clearly, Vraska working under Bolas. It's like, nope, kill him. So that way, I'm going to insert my own agent into the Azorius. He's going to now become the guild leader, and it's all going to work. Now, they have Vidalkin on Ravnica. So my Dovin Bond theory, I don't think is a stretch. I don't. That said, though, Rosewater, I was going over Blogatalk earlier today, and Rosewater did say that the planeswalkers who are going to be usurping the respected guilds that are joining Bolas are natives of Ravnica. I think he basically confirmed that. So we know Gruul at least has Dumarad. The other 2, I don't know. I don't know. That very much implies we're actually going to see new planeswalkers, which I'm down for. I'm always down for new planeswalkers. Anyway, I digress. We got a lot more cards. A few more that got spoiled yesterday, and the rest are today. And I believe I'm already at like the 5 or 6, almost the 5-minute mark. So I'm going to have to speed through a couple of these. Whispering Snitch is a 1 black, 1 of any color, 1/3 vampire rogue. Whenever you surveil the first time each turn, deals 1 damage to each opponent, and you gain 1 life. I'll be honest, I know cards like this exist for a reason. If this was every time you surveilled, I could see it being useful, but you only get it once per turn. So you only get 1 damage off per turn. And you have to be... I'll be honest, I don't like the card very much. At best, it's a 1/3 for 2 with a bit of a bigger butt for 2, and you can get a secondary effect because you have to be in Dimir Surveil to be using this. Not a big fan of the card myself. No, Notion Rain, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 of any color for a sorcery, common, surveil 2, then draw 2 cards. Notion Rain deals 2 damage to you. See, I'm noticing a lot of cards that do damage to you in this set, which if a lot of players are, a lot of players can deal with that strategy. That's fine. I've never been a big fan of it, but it's not to say I don't use cards that have that effect. I would use a card like that for this effect, because surveil doesn't mean you have to put something in the graveyard. It is essentially scry, but instead of putting it on the bottom, you put whatever you want in the graveyard. You can essentially set up your hand perfectly, draw your 2 cards if you want. Or if you don't like the 2 cards that are coming, ditch them and then get the next 2 cards. Honestly, that's worth 2 damage to me. So, and that's coming from a guy who doesn't like effects like that much. That's why I'm not as big on Shocklands. And again, this is coming from a guy who plays kitchen table. I play casual. I'll play the sealed events, occasional commander, that kind of stuff. I don't play modern or standard or those formats where the Shocklands and the stuff that burns you for more than the 4 damage exists in a much more prevalent state. But I like this. I will say I like this card. Mausoleum Secrets. 1 black, 1 of any color for an instant. Rare, Undergrowth. Search your library for a black card with converted mana costs equal to or less than the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. See, this is where the Undergrowth mechanic starts to shows its flaws pretty heavily. Because with almost any other, besides that, I think it was that 1 costing card that basically gives -X for creatures. That's fine because of that's all right, because you'll pretty quickly get a 1 off on it. This card does nothing until things are dead. This card just sits in your hand. If you get this on turn 1, it's a 2. That's the thing too. It costs 2 mana. You would think something that costs 2 mana, you should be able to play if you in your hand immediately if you drew it on turn 2 or something like that. This does nothing until there's a creature card in the graveyard, and even then, what you're gonna search unless you got a card that's cost 1 black. Excuse me, unless you got a black card that does in fact cost 1, that's worth getting. This is not a good card. Now late game is different. This is a better card late game. So ultimately, it's not a bad card, but it's not a great card. It's a very just a do nothing card. That's the thing. It does really nothing for a while, and then you have to put effort into it just to play 1 card. Is that really worth it? I don't know. Nightveil Sprite, 1 blue, 1 of any color for a 1/2 fairy rogue, uncommon, flying. Whenever it attacks, surveil 1. So you can use it with your vampire. Your whispering, what was it? Whispering thing? Whispering Snitch. It's fine. Honestly, it's actually pretty solid. It's got a bigger butt than 1. You play it for 2, so it can at least block 1/1s. And whenever it attacks, you can surveil 1, which is probably going to be a pretty effective mechanic in this block. So yeah, it's fine. Disdainful Stroke, 1 blue, 1 of any color for an instant, common. Counter target spell and convert a mana cost 4 or greater. So it's basically designed against your big, meaty Selesnya, Gruul, and probably Simic monsters. And I mean, all the guilds have a couple big, meaty things, but yeah, that's what that's designed for. And to be fair, it's not a bad counter spell, especially if you have an idea of what your opponent's playing. Yeah, you can just save it essentially, especially in the pre-release, and your opponent's probably got at least 1 big bomb rare that's big and beefy. Yeah, you can just be like, no, I'm going to hold on to that, and then there it goes. So yeah, I actually don't mind the card. I'd probably end up using it if I'm going to be honest. Let's see. We have a split card: Expansion and Explosion. Expansion is another one of the cycle of the 2 hybrid mana and then the just straight multicolor. For 2 hybrid mana of blue and red, you get an instant that says a copy target instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 4 or less. You may choose a new target for the copy. And then Explosion is 2 blue, 2 red, and X, where this card deals X damage to any target. Target player draws X cards. See, the wording of that makes it sound like you maybe choose a target for the damage, and then so what says any target. So then target player, yeah, you would choose it. So you would just gate. So you could do 3 light damage and draw 3 cards. That's a pretty solid card. That's essentially your Sphinx's Revelation in Izzet. Overall, this is actually a pretty solid one. I like this one. I'd use it. I could see myself using it. Vivid Revival, 1 green, 4 of any color for green, rare sorcery. Return up to 3 target multicolor cards from your graveyard to your hand. Exile this card. If you've got multicolor cards in your grave, good on you for this. Otherwise, this card, this is another one of those cards that does nothing. If you need to be in multicolor cards. Now, if you're in multicolor cards and you have to have a couple in the graveyard, is it worth 5 mana? I don't know. I'm not feeling this one overly much. I gotta say, now that we've gotten on to day 3, I'm starting to really pick out the cards that I'm not as big a fan of. Guild Mage's Forum. Rare land, tap for a colorless mana. Or you can pay 1 mana of any color, tap this card, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. If that mana is spent on a multicolored creature spell, that creature enters the battlefield with a +1 counter on it. Honestly, yeah, I can dig it, because it taps for mana regardless. Really, you're not going to be down any real land. You're going to, let's say you play a 2/2, you're just going to play it for the correct color, and then it comes out with a, or 2 costing one, I should say. So yeah, I like this card. It's a solid land. Molder Hulk. So it's like Boulder Hulk, but mold, because it's a zombie fungus. No joke. I like the art on it. The art's pretty good. Kind of gives me a bit of a John Carpenter's The Thing vibe. 1 green, 1 black, and 7 mana for a 6/6 fungus zombie with undergrowth. Costs 1 less for each creature spell in your graveyard. Enters the battlefield. Return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, assuming there's land in your graveyard, you can get a land back. It's a 6/6 for 9 without the undergrowth. That has no ability other than that. If you can get at least, I would imagine by the time you feel comfortable playing, you'll have at least a couple creatures in the graveyard. Let's say on average 3. So take 3 off there. That means it's 4. That means now it's 6. 6/6 for 2 multicolor mana. And if you have a land in the graveyard, I gotta tell you, I'm not a big fan. I love the art, but I'm not digging this one. I am not digging this. That being said, I do have a deck it could work in, but ultimately, I can't really say I'm a fan of this one. Goblin Banneret. 1 red for a Goblin Soldier with Mentor. It's a 1/1 uncommon. Tap 1 mana of any color and 1 red, and this creature gets +2/+0 until the end of turn, which is really what you want to do because it's got Mentor. Otherwise, a creature with 1 power with Mentor means nothing, because how many people are going to be attacking with 0 costing creatures? Then we get their actual cycles. Essentially, these are our Cluestone / Guild Charm, Key Ruins, Sigils. Basically the dual mana producers of the guilds, and we'll get these again in the Ravnica Allegiance as well. So we got their lockets. Essentially, they basically they're kind of like trinkets that they give to the guild members, like initiates. And there's a quote behind underneath all of them. Like the Demir one says, "Wear this and take your place among the shadows. We wise, lethal, and unseen." Or the Selesnya one is, "Wear at all times. It will guide or reanimate," or that's Golgari, "reanimators to your corpse." The Izzet one, "Remember to discharge your locket every 7 hours, unless you prefer the spontaneous aether overload, of course." Let's see, the Boros one is, "We pass these along to our fellow soldiers to recognize deeds of valor. It won't stay with you for long." And the last one, Selesnya locket, says, "Think of this locket as a seed you bear, spreading life from Vitu-Ghazi across all of Ravnica," which is probably the least bad one. But they all basically do actually the same thing. They all tap for either one or the other mana. Demir's blue-black, Golgari black-green, blue-red for Izzet, so forth and so on. And they all have a 4 hybrid mana costing ability. Pay 4 hybrid mana, blue or black in case of Dimir, black or green in case of Golgari, so forth and so on. Pay that mana, tap it, sacrifice it, and draw 2 cards. I'll say this right now, I like these better than the Clue Stones. Actually, no, I won't say that I like them better than the Clue Stones, because the Clue Stones are easier to activate. But I will say I like these better than, say, either the Signets or the Key Ruins. The Key Ruins turn into creatures. That was cool. These give you card advantage, though. And card advantage is always at least they give you the draw capabilities in all colors, which is something not all these colors do. Red-white does not do draw very often. Green-black does not do draw very often. Green-white does not do draw very often. Really, only blue-black and blue-red here do draw at all. Anything with blue does draw the most often. So that they're all, I like them. I'm interested to see what the, honestly, I'm interested to see first off what the art for the next set of guilds, Ravnica Legions, looks like, and I'm interested to see what the quote's going to be. Govern the Storm, 1 red, 4 of any color, for an instant common, deals 5 damage to any target creature. Okay. It's going to be your burn spell. I mean, when you have a Goblin Electromancer on the field, that immediately becomes now a 4-costing spell, which, trust me, 1 mana makes all the difference. And then if you got more, yeah. Midnight Reaper, one of the cards I put in for the title. 1 red, 1 black, 2 of any color for a Zombie Knight, rare, 3/2. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, this card deals 1 damage to you and you draw a card. I had decks this can work in. I've never really been a huge fan of, hey, you're going to draw and you're going to lose a life. Hey, you're going to draw and lose a life. Obviously, though, you would have to, I would imagine you have at least some level of life gain, because otherwise you're kind of screwing yourself over long term. Or you better have a damn good finisher. Otherwise, just ping, ping, ping. It's like I'm just losing more life and losing more life. So ultimately, I like the card. Artwork is freaking phenomenal. It's literally a green Midnight Reaper. It's a Grim Reaper on a pitch black horse. That is sick. That's great art. Ultimately, I like it, and I can find a home for it in one of my decks, but I don't know if I'd use it. At least not. Again, my hope is to be in blue, is to go Is It, and then followed by Selesnya. And then I'd probably have to lean towards Golgari. But we'll see what happens. Anything's possible. Arclight Phoenix. Arclight Phoenix. We got a Phoenix. I don't recall us having Phoenixes in Ravnica before. But the way they describe it kind of hints at how it's created. 1 red, 3 of any color for a 3/2 Phoenix Mythic Flying Haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you cast 3 or more instances or sorceries this turn, you may return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's a lot of work. There's Phoenixes that do this better. That Phoenix that came out in Rivals of Ixalan is frankly a better Phoenix, I think. It's probably one of the best Phoenixes we've had. Plus, they both have good artwork, but that Phoenix just had far better artwork. Just that owl-like Phoenix, that was so awesome looking. But I will say this is just art-wise, this is gorgeous, because they give it kind of like a luminescent neon techno look to it. And it's implied like it's created from the lightning of the Is It experiments, hence why it's got the instant sorcery clause to bring it back. It's kind of an Is It card without being an Is It card. With Jumpstart, that's going to be with Jumpstart. With Jumpstart, it's not terrible, but I don't know how many times you're going to be able to get an effect like this off. At least once or twice, I could feel certain about that. But I don't know. I like Phoenixes. Phoenixes are cool, but who knows? Inescapable Flames. Here's a instant you can activate for that. 2 red, 4 of any color for an instant uncommon. This spell can't be countered and deals 6 damage to any target creature, or any target actually. Sorry. Again, it's expensive, but just can't be countered. I'm sure we'll probably have a cycle of these can't be countered again. I don't know. It's okay. I don't know. It's just really expensive. Again, with a Goblin Electromancer, you can definitely bring it down to 5 or maybe even 4. But and at 4, then 6 damage that can't be countered is pretty good. Ultimately, I don't know. Maximize altitude. This is the one costing jumpstart card. Get target creature gets +1/+1 and flying till the end of turn. Jumpstart, and it's cost 1 blue mana. Ultimately, yeah, that's gonna be, you're gonna use that a lot. Swarm Guildmage. We don't have the full cycle of the Guildmages yet, but we do have our first look at a couple of them. We got 2 of them to be precise. Swarm Guildmage is the Golgari one. They all still cost 1 color of one of their guild colors, or 2 of their guild colors. The green black in this case for Golgari. 2 for a 2/2. I think they're all still 2/2s as well. So this has the ability, you can either tap 1 green or pay 1 green, 1 of any color, and tap it and gain 2 life. Okay. Or you can pay 4 of any color, 1 black, and tap this card. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain menace till the end of turn. It's a pretty good card. If you play it on turn 1 or play it on turn 2, you're probably just going to be either waiting to use the effects or using this to gain life to just kind of stall for a little bit, and then eventually you'll get to the point where you'll have some creatures you'll be able to activate menace. Ultimately, it's a pretty decent card. Art's pretty solid, but it's a decent card. Golgari Findbroker, 2 black, 2 green, for a 3/4 elf shaman. When it enters the battlefield, to return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Now you see, this is where Molder Hulk, if I remember that name correctly, Molder Hulk, this is the kind of ability Molder Hulk should have had. Because Molder Hulk is just lands. You can't guarantee you'll have a land in there unless you design your deck as such, and you're going to just put land in there. This, honestly, it's 4 mana for a 3/4, which in its own right, and granted, it's double mana on both sides, but it returns any permanent to your hand, so ultimately, yeah, it's a much better card than Molder Hulk. And it's got good art on it also. That's one thing I'll say, even for the cards that I don't like very much, most of the art in this set is fantastic. House Guildmage, the Demir one. 1 black, 1 blue for a 2/2 human wizard. You may pay 1 blue, 1 of a color to tap target creature. Target creature doesn't untap during the controller's next untap step. You don't tap it, but it doesn't untap. Or you can pay 2 of any color, 1 black, tap this card and surveil for 2. It fits your Demir purposes. Honestly, the tap ability or the tap down ability is far more relevant, I think, than surveil. Because you can just you can basically get a couple of these. You can just stall out your opponent, unless more untapping or more tap abilities happen. I don't know. I think I like the Golgari one a little better. Golgari Raiders, 1 black, 1 green, 3 of any color, so 4 mana for a haste. Undergrowth 0/0 enters the battlefield +1/+1 counters on it for each creature in your grave. Don't like this card. I can say that right now. I do not like this card because again, it raises the problem that I had with that other with that black spell from earlier. What was it? Mausoleum Secrets. This thing is just going to sit in your hand until you've got shit in the graveyard. And then let's say you only have 1 creature, you're playing 4 for a 1/1 haste. You basically got to hold on to the card until it's worth playing, and then you're not doing anything with the card, so you're pretty much wasting a spot in your deck just to play a single card. That's not even that good. It's just turning into like a big, beefy haste creature with no other effect. Not a fan of that card. This is not. I wouldn't say this is a very good card. It's not a very good card. Lava Coil, 1 red, 1 of any color, for a sorcery, uncommon. It deals 4 damage to target creature. If that creature would die, exile instead. This is essentially the next stage up. From things like Magma Spray and stuff along those lines, which deals 2 damage to creature dies, exile it. This is the next stage to that. You now deal 4 damage if it dies, exile it. And since 4 seems to be the benchmark for surviving most things, this thing's going to get through a lot of stuff. There aren't a lot of creatures right now in this set that have anything greater than 4 butt. There's right now that Mold Breaker, Niv, the giant impenetrable worm, and then that hexproof beast. This thing will kill most things in the set. So I like it. It's a good card. Never Happened. 1 black, 2 of any color for a sorcery. Common. Target opponent reveals their hand. Choose a non-land card from it, and that card. Sorry, non-land. Wait. You choose a non-land card from that player's graveyard or hand and exile it. Okay. So this is essentially to counteract the overgrowth or undergrowth. And interesting that it also specifies the graveyard. Essentially just discard a card from their hand and exile it. And in that sense, it's fine. The graveyard's a little extra bonus. Get rid of their jumpstart and their undergrowth. So, last but not least, we have Invert and Invent. Invert is 1 mana. This is an uncommon split spell. Is 1 hybrid mana, blue-red. Switch the power and toughness of each of up to 2 target creatures. Could be a fun little combat trick. Invent 1 red, 1 blue, 4 of any color for an instant. Search your library for an instant or sorcery card, reveal them, and put them into your hand, and then shuffle your library. So you either get a search spell or you get a neat little combat trick. Honestly, I'd use the combat trick. I mean, yeah, if you've got a bomb blowout spell in your deck, sure, the search might be good, but there are better search spells out there. We'll probably see a couple more coming up. But ultimately, yeah, I would actually play the Invert more than I would the Invent, but that's just me. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, that was long. It didn't mean to be that long, but we had a lot of cards to go over. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As those who want to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Superman Magic. What if? Anything I do on the channel, put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to that at some point. Be back, if not tomorrow, then definitely Friday with another Magic video. Thanks for watching, though. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.